going on there? Happy Wednesday. Bo from Conde Systems. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in on this wonderful Wednesday. Hope everything is going well in your world. Let me know in the comments below. How's everybody doing today? We've got a lot going on for you today. We've got a very special presentation for you today. And I've got my note card here. And today we're just going to let you know that this is not sublimation. So we're doing something today and it's not for sublimation. That's right, everybody. We are talking today about Neenah transfer papers. We're going to be getting into the inkjet transfer papers, and we're going to be getting into the laser toner transfer papers from Neenah. So we're going to be talking about a few different papers here. We're going to be talking about papers that are going to go from light to white to light colored garments and dark colored garments. That's right. So just to give you guys a little thing here, my name is bo@conde.com. You can email me if you have any questions of any sorts. Go ahead, email me bo@conde.com. Or if you want, you can also hit us up at sales@conde.com, or you can give us a call at 1-800-826-6332. Those are the ways you can reach us, or you can just go to conde.com and check out the products there. So today we're going to be talking about a few papers. First, I'm going to talk to you guys. We're going to be talking about Neenah 3G Jet-OPAQUE transfer paper. Now, these are available in 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 for all four papers. They're 100 sheet packs. As you can see with the Neenah 3G Jet-OPAQUE, there's no special inks required. It's designed for inkjet printers. Not sublimation, remember that. And so we're gonna, this is a great one. It's got a great flexible hand feel to it. It transfers bright images. It's easy to cut with scissors, excuse me, or you can use your plotter cutters, like, you know, your Caesar Juliet or your Romeo or something like that. We're also going to be talking about the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. Again, these are in 8.5 by 11 and 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 and 100 sheet packs. This one is specifically designed for inkjet printers. This right here has excellent washability and all of those sort of things. So you can notice this one is for light and white color garments. And then we have our LASER-1-OPAQUE transfer paper. This is going to be compatible with your oilless laser printers and copiers. It's going to produce high resolution photographs with details of the images, with detailed images. This can also be contour cut to eliminate white borders and all of that. You'll notice that this is great for cotton. Cotton is key here. Now we also have our TECHNI-PRINT EZP laser transfer paper. Now what makes this one interesting is that it's also good for hard surfaces like mugs and plaques. Again, you're going to notice cotton. Cotton is a reoccurring theme here. Cotton is something that sublimation struggles with. And if anyone ever emails you or tells you that they have a product for cotton and sublimation, I'm going to let you know that it's probably a scam. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen something that I would put, you know, cotton and sublimation together. So here we are today. We're going to be talking about Neenah, as we said. And I don't know if you know this, but those slides there, I'm not an expert on Neenah transfer paper. That's why I am bringing in the expert. Now, everybody here, I want you guys to know that this is his first time on our channel, so please take it easy with him. I want you guys to all give Ryan a warm welcome, all of those sort of things. Give him the Conde warm welcome. So Ryan, thank you for coming on here. Thank you for being the Neenah product transfer paper expert.
Bo, thank you so much for the kind introduction. After those slides, I don't really know what more I can say about these papers. You covered a lot of it. But Neenah heat transfer papers is what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to go through the types of printers that they're compatible with. We're going to talk about the different types of inks, some of the items and garments you can decorate with them. We're going to show you how to use them. We're going to do a whole lot today. So to get started, Neenah inkjet heat transfer papers, Neenah laser printable heat transfer papers. These have been in the market for quite some time. They actually came out, but when I discussed this earlier, You're trying to figure out the exact date they launched, how long they've been around. We have an answer to that. It was the 80s. So we're looking at a 40-year-old product. It came out 40 years ago. Neenah has put in some time. They've made some innovations. They've definitely improved it since the initial transfer papers came out, but it has been on the market for a while. A lot of you have probably seen them. Some of you might have used them. You've probably seen them out and about for family reunions, for birthdays, for celebrations. It's a great way to put a memory onto a shirt and make it into a keepsake. These heat transfer papers are used by a wide array of people. They're used by hobbyists, people having fun. They're used by people with a side hustle. You want to get into making t-shirts? We're going to show you how you can do that with really very little, almost no investment in equipment. You can use a hand iron to apply these heat transfer papers. You can iron them right on. You can print it from a regular old inkjet printer. We'll talk a little bit about the models and the makes that it works well with. You can also use heat presses as the business grows, as you make money, invest in yourself. You can get some more fancy equipment, and you can do it that way as well. These heat transfer papers are great for beginners and great for people with existing businesses. So my first experience with heat transfer, before I was even doing this for a living, the way that I got into it, and it's kind of a funny story, very sentimental to me. We were doing a family event. We were going to a theme park, an amusement park, Six Flags Great America here in the Illinois, Chicagoland area here in Illinois. And my grandpa had just got a printer, and it was his first home printer. It was sitting on his desktop. He was real proud of it. And he found these iron-on heat transfer papers. So he bought a whole pack of them. We opened them up. We had a design. We had some photos that we were able to print, got them loaded up on his computer. We printed them out, and we probably spent 2 or 3 hours figuring out how to get these papers onto the t-shirts. We were eventually successful. We went to the theme park. Everybody in the family had their matching shirts. It was kind of embarrassing. I was a little bit too old for it at the time, but it was a lot of fun. And I remember that to this day. When I'm out and about, maybe it's a family reunion, it's a graduation, whatever the event is, whenever I see somebody with that type of transfer paper, it always brings back that memory for me. So that's kind of my first experience. That's how I got involved with this. And then when I joined with AW, it was one of the first transfer papers that I started with, one of the first ones that I began to use. And what I loved about it is how simple it was, how easy it was to get started doing this type of transfer. You don't necessarily need to invest a lot in equipment, in fancy printers. Bo mentioned earlier, this is not sublimation printing. We don't need to have any special software. We don't need to have a $1,000 printer. We don't need to invest in any of that. You can buy a standard printer from Best Buy, from Walmart, from Target. You can even go to used stores, Goodwill, Salvation Army, secondhand stores. A lot of them have these types of printers. And the Neenah transfer papers are designed, they're made to work specifically with those printers. You don't have to do any color profiling. Pretty much the colors that you see on your screen are what's going to show up on the transfer when you print it out. So they're very simple, very easy to use. Now, does everybody know, are you guys familiar with inkjet printing versus toner printing or laser printing? Bo, is that something you know about? Is that something you can help with?
Like me personally help with that. I know. I can tell you they're spelled different. There's different letters in there. Inkjet is going to use, it's going to use ink in it. I don't want to break it down too far much further than I know is that ink is going to use some sort of liquid, and toner is going to use a laser, or toner is going to use a powder.
You pretty much nailed it. So an inkjet printer is going to use a liquid-based ink, and in the ink is going to be a dye or a pigment. These inks are actually translucent. Sublimation and sublimation printers are a type of inkjet printers. What makes these inks a little bit unique is that while there are color in them, they are a translucent color, meaning light, and whatever color substrate they're being transferred on is going to shine through them. What that means is when we try to decorate a dark garment with sublimation or with just any old inkjet inks, the color of the shirt is going to come through. If you're trying to put them onto a black shirt, those inks are not going to stand out at all. If you try to print on cardstock, or if you try to print on paper that's red or that's green, that's going to mess with the color of your inks. So when we're doing a transfer to a dark shirt like this one or the one that I'm wearing, we need to have an intermediary. We need to have something that blocks the color of the shirt and allows those inks to shine through. And that's where the opaque transfer papers really come in. Specifically, Neenah's most popular product, Neenah's 3G Jet-Opaque. 3G Jet-Opaque has been around for a while. It started out as Jet-Opaque. They're now on the 3rd generation of it. They've worked to improve the hand. They've really tried to get rid of the papery feel that some of those old transfers used to have, used to crinkle them up. They've improved the durability. They last a lot longer. The inks are really locked into place. There's been a lot of improvements that they've done over the years. So if it's been a while since you've used the Neenah 3G or opaque transfer papers, I highly recommend you going over to Conde, checking it out, maybe buying a pack and seeing what's new, comparing them to what you remember. And you'll probably be pretty impressed with what's out there. What makes Neenah transfer papers unique? What sets them apart in the industry? One of the first companies to do this, in fact, the first company to make t-shirt transfer papers was Neenah. They hold several patents in the industry. They were the ones that pioneered this. They worked with all of the major printer brands. When the printer brands are coming out, when new printers are coming out, they're testing all different types of paper. Most of them still use, for transfer papers, the Neenah papers. They make sure that the papers feed through the printer correctly. They make sure the colors match. They really make sure that the printer is dialed in to these particular papers, along with every other type of paper that they can print with. So when you buy Neenah, it makes it very easy to get set up and to get started. We're going to talk a little bit today about different avenues that people might be in or that they might take when they're in this industry. Some of you are going to be hobbyists. You do this for fun. You want to make a cool looking t-shirt to wear out, to show off to friends and family. Some of you are doing this for a side hustle. You're trying to earn a few extra dollars. Maybe you have an existing business. Maybe you've been tossing around the idea of getting started, starting a business, making t-shirts, selling them, getting customers. Others, you guys might already have a business. You might already be doing this as a side hustle or a full-time business. A lot of times photographers, people who have kiosks, 1-hour t-shirt places, a lot of them use these Neenah heat transfer papers for making t-shirts. They're quick, they're easy, and it's very simple to get started. Again, a printer, a hand iron, and a cell phone is all you need. A lot of these modern printers are connected to Wi-Fi. You don't even need to have a computer. You don't need special software. You don't really need anything to get started. It's that simple. Talking a little bit about crafters and hobbyists. If you do sublimation printing, and I know Conde has a lot of customers, a lot of people that go there for sublimation supplies. With these papers, like Bo mentioned, you are going to be able to decorate dark shirts. You're going to be able to decorate cotton shirts. These particular papers from Neenah are going to allow you to really expand your business. You're going to be able to offer different types of garments, different colors. You're going to be able to do a lot with these that you can't do with a sublimation printer. If you are already doing some dark shirts, if you guys have maybe direct-to-film printers, other technologies, these can be used as a supplement. You can use them for quick service. You can use them to very quickly print out shirts. If somebody comes in, they want a design done in 10 minutes. There's a lot of mall kiosks. There's a lot of professional businesses, people that do this for a living, that go through thousands of sheets of Neenah papers a week because they work and they're high quality. Let's talk a little bit about the different types of transfer papers, and let's show you how they work. We're going to start with the Neenah 3G Jet-Opaque. The Jet-Opaque transfer paper is inkjet printable. It comes in, I think Bo mentioned, 11 by 17. That's for a big t-shirt. A guy like me, you're going to need an 11 by 17. It's going to cover up the whole shirt. It allows you to decorate a lot of areas. You can also print out different designs. You can cut this paper. So maybe you wanted to do pocket logos or small areas. You're going to be able to print multiple logos on this, cut it out, and press it onto a shirt. It comes in those two common sizes, 11, 17, and 8.5 by 11. This paper is designed to be used on dark substrates. Again, it can be hand ironed or it can be applied with a heat press. When you purchase one of these packs, the instructions are going to be for heat press and for hand ironing. So it's going to come with instructions showing you how to use both. It is definitely easier, quicker to do the heat press. That's my preferred way of doing it. But we're going to show you today with our iron just how easy it is to iron on the shirt, the transfer onto the garment. These transfers work best with cotton poly blends, or you can put them on leathers. Anything that is a little bit roughed up, it's going to work with. So the way that these work is they come out of the printer on a sheet. Here's an example. You print it with the inkjet printer. It comes out. What you'll do is you'll remove the front. There's a film, a polymer film. This is where the ink is attached to. And you'll peel the polymer film off of the paper. You're left with the t-shirt transfer. That's what we have here. This one has just been cut on a plotter cutter. So we can remove the transfer. The backing paper is recyclable. That's one of the things that Neenah prides itself on, is environmental sustainability. They produce all of the paper and the polymers and do the coating in-house. Once you have the transfer removed, the backside is going to be white. When you print these out, you're going to print them right reading. No need to mirror. You sublimators, you guys are used to mirroring. You do not need to do that with the dark transfer papers, because we're going to put the transfer right on top of the garment. That white backing, that's going to block any dye migration. That's going to prevent any of that blue color on this shirt from coming through. And it's going to allow the ink, the translucent ink, it's going to allow it to really be vibrant, be a good color, and be seen. When we're ironing, we want to turn the iron to the hottest possible setting. You want to iron back and forth over the transfer, up and down. With all heat transfer, it really comes down to time, temperature, and pressure. I'm pressing pretty hard on the garment. This is one of those things, if you're doing t-shirts for kids or family reunions, you might have a little helper with you. Kids love getting involved with this step. Depending on their age, you might want to be a little bit careful using an iron. It is hot, it can be dangerous, but kids really enjoy helping out with this step. I put a piece of heat transfer parchment paper over the top of this. It is silicone coated. The parchment paper is really going to help and ensure that my iron stays clean. If you ever try to press the opaque transfer papers without a cover like a parchment or a Teflon sheet, you're going to really start disliking life. They will melt, they will attach to the iron, it will create a huge mess. I'm not going to make you guys watch for the whole time, but typically you should do this for 2 to 3 minutes, really making sure you're pressing in the iron, heating it up. What's happening on the back of the polymer, the first coating they put down, the coating that's touching the shirt, it has an adhesive. The adhesive is heat activated. The longer we iron, the hotter the temperature gets, the better that adhesive is going to go onto the shirt. But we can see the transfer looks great. It's got a nice soft touch. I don't know if you guys can hear that at all, putting it by our microphone. You can't hear that papery feeling. Give it a nice stretch. It stays in shape. It looks really, really good. You're going to get several washes out of this. It's really going to last for quite some time. One of the things that we always like to mention, with any heat transfer paper, really with anything heat transfer, you want to make sure that you don't wash it for 24 to 48 hours after pressing it onto the garment. Even though this looks dry, the ink is dry, it doesn't move around when I touch it, there's still on the cellular level, deep down, things aren't set. By giving it 24 to 48 hours before you're washing it, you're really going to extend the life of this garment. You're going to make it far more durable. Like we mentioned, these heat transfer papers are great for making memory shirts. Here we have here, I'll put it by our camera. It is a graphic for a grandma. It's got pictures. You can easily, with an inkjet printer, you can make a very quick design. You just find a template, you drop in your photos. You add a little bit of text. You can easily make a custom shirt to wear to graduations. Maybe it's a preschool. Maybe it's a sporting event. You want to show off the grandkids. You want to let everybody know who you're there to support. It's very easy, very simple to do that with these dark and opaque transfer papers. I have a niece and nephew. They're a little bit older now, but when they were young, they would love me showing up to their schools or their sporting events. I'd have a picture of them on my shirt. It would typically be us together, and they would absolutely love seeing me in that shirt. They would love it being worn. They would show all of their friends. It was very exciting for them. They're now in 5th and 7th grade. It is no longer exciting, and it is embarrassing for them. So if they make me a little bit upset, I always threaten them, hey, you know, I could show up to your baseball game wearing a shirt with you and I on the cover or on the front. So you'll notice when we're doing the t-shirt transfer papers on the heat press, you wanted to pre-press the shirt. We want to make sure we're getting the moisture out of the shirt, and we want to make sure we're removing any of the chemicals or ingredients or stuff that they put in to make the shirt feel nice on the shelf. So always do a pre-press. When we're heat pressing with the 3G JET-OPAQUE, we want our heat press set to about 350 degrees, and we're going to press for 30 seconds. We use silicone-coated parchment paper. I know there's a lot of different types of parchment papers out there. A lot of you might buy like a parchment paper over the counter from a store. You might order it on Amazon. Those are typically okay. They work pretty well. But when it comes to transfer papers, the silicone-coated parchment is really going to be your best bet. The silicone-coated parchment can absorb any ink. Sometimes you have blowouts when you're doing sublimation. It's going to be able to absorb any of those blowouts. It's also not going to hold on to any ink if you're doing inkjet or toner transfers. 350 degrees, medium-high pressure for 30 seconds. We remove it, our silicone-coated parchment, give the shirt a little shake, and there you go. From an inkjet printer that you can buy for $75 to $150, you can print with your phone. You don't need much else. A heat press or a hand iron. You have a very customized t-shirt. You wear it out. You show off the grandkids. People are going to love it. You show everybody the shirt. High quality. It's going to last. It's a really fun, easy to use product. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them up. Feel free to send them in. Be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Yeah. As we are going here, guys, if you have questions, let me know, because I will address them to Ryan here. And Ryan, you're doing a really good job here. Thank you so much for coming on doing this. That was 3G JET-OPAQUE, just to recap, right?
That was the 3G JET-OPAQUE. The 3G JET-OPAQUE in the 8.5 by 11 size retails for about $1.19 a sheet. It's a very affordable, very low-cost way to make a t-shirt. The results are going to be phenomenal. It's really good at picking up skin tones, different color gamuts. You can trim it with scissors, or you can use a plotter cutter if you're looking to do a specific size. One of the things that happens with 3G JET-OPAQUE when we print it out, if it does have borders, because we're peeling and removing the transfer from the image, the borders will show up on the shirt. So this white border here, if we transfer it without cutting it off, it will show up on the t-shirt. So one of the differences between maybe doing this as a hobby and being a professional selling this stuff, trying to make money doing it as a side hustle, would be making sure you remove the borders, remove the white part, either by hand with a plotter cutter, and making sure when you put the transfer on, it's nothing but the image. So that's, again, one of those things. If you're a hobbyist, you're doing this for fun, nobody's going to tell you they see the border on your shirt. If you're selling this, people might come in and say, oh, why do we have that border on this shirt? What can be done about that?
Hey, Ryan, if you're having trouble peeling the with the peel on the 3G JET-OPAQUE on dark garments, do you have any tips, tricks, pro tips for success?
Bo, absolutely. There are a couple different things, and anybody who's used these transfer papers like me the first time has probably struggled to remove them. So there's a couple different things with the inkjet transfer papers that I typically recommend. First, if you have any vinyl or weeding tools, flipping the paper over, using those vinyl or weeding tools to try and separate it. We're going to put it up the camera. Probably the best way to do it, if we see it on there, is to make a little rip. Because this is a coated sheet, this polymer coating is a lot more durable. It's a lot more flexible than the paper behind it. So if we make a little tear, very small in the motion, we'll notice that the polymer sheet is together, but the piece of paper behind it is torn. We can then pick the paper and tear it from there. So creating a little tiny tear, move it back and forth, really, really tiny. The polymer will bounce back into shape, but the paper behind it will tear. The last tip that I have, and if all else fails, if you're trying, if the paper is sticking to the transfer, if you just can't get it removed, if you very lightly take a razor blade and you run the razor blade behind the paper on the backer where it's printed with the 3G logo, and you very gently run the razor blade back here, you can cut the paper, but again, the polymer will not cut. And then if you do put a small cut in the polymer, when you lay it onto the shirt, you can adjust it so that you don't see the cut. But Bo, that was a great question, because again, tearing this off, removing it from the backer, that can be really, really challenging, and it can be a frustrating part, because while they are low cost at $1.19 a sheet, you hate wasting money. You hate throwing it away. Next up, we are going to go over real quick the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. So 3G JET-OPAQUE is an inkjet printable transfer paper for dark shirts, for color shirts. It's very soft feeling. It does a great job picking up amazing colors. You can put it on cotton, and it's going to block any dye migration. So if you guys have done transfers with maybe screen printed or direct to film transfers, you might have noticed if you put that transfer on a white shirt, any area that's white all of a sudden starts to look a little bit pink on a red shirt. It might start to look a little bit gray on a black shirt. We call that dye migration. What's happening is over time, the dye that's in the cotton fabric or polyester is starting to come up through the transfer, and it's starting to show through that white, and it's migrating to the surface. That's going to mess with your colors. Neenah's 3G JET-OPAQUE is very good at stopping that, preventing that dye migration, and making sure that the colors stay true and look great. The JET-PRO Soft Stretch is also inkjet printable. We haven't gotten to the laser printable transfer papers yet. We're going to raise our temperature to 375 degrees on the George Knight press, which I believe Conde carries. The George Knights are a really, really high quality press. One of the things that people do when they get into this business, not everybody has a budget. Not everybody has an investor of thousands of dollars. You might not be able to afford the George Knight right away. You might be starting with a hand iron. You might need to order one of the low-cost heat presses from overseas. That's only a few $100s. That's all right. With these transfer papers, you can absolutely get your business started. You can absolutely buy and use one of those heat presses. We always warn people and caution people, if you're not buying a quality machine like a George Knight or a Hicks heat press, remember that your heat press is going to be a consumable. It's eventually going to wear out. It's eventually going to need to be replaced. You're going to have to reinvest in it. So when you're pricing your shirts, when you're pricing whatever you're making, make sure you're building enough room to not only cover your labor costs, the costs of the printer, the transfer papers, and the ink, but to eventually replace and upgrade to the next heat press. Because you never know when your heat press is going to go out or when you're going to need to buy a new one. In my opinion, the American-made heat presses, George Knight in particular, and the Hicks heat presses are the highest quality. They have really good internal components. They have a nice heat system. A lot of the low-cost heat presses have a quadrant heating system. There's going to be 4 or 6 individual heating elements on each side. Those heating elements, at first, are all in tune and all the same temperature. Over time, the longer you have the heat press, the more you use it, you might notice that on the back of the heat press, you're at 375 degrees, while on the front of the heat press, you're a lot lower at maybe 275 degrees. The Hicks and the George Knight have a coil system. The coil system winds continuously through the printer. The coil's heated to one temperature. There's a nice big heavy base plate under there, and it's going to make sure the entire heat press stays the consistent temperature, the same temperature. For doing the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, it is a lot more difficult to do with a hand iron. You can try it with a small image, but I recommend if you're going to be doing the white shirts with the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, I really recommend a heat press for this. We're going to pre-press the garment. The reason a heat press is going to be recommended is because with the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, the ink is going to be transferred with the polymer. So we printed on the sheet, JET-PRO Soft Stretch, because we're transferring and we're not removing the sheet, we're going to print this reverse. Mirror for you sublimators. We're going to put the image on reverse, and when we do the transfer, because we're putting it face down, it's going to show up right reading on the t-shirt. JET-PRO Soft Stretch is a very high quality transfer paper. It is not self-weeding, meaning what is happening is the entire polymer sheet is transferring onto the shirt. For light garments, for white shirts, you don't see those polymers. On the dark shirts, they can show up a little bit, but really there's nothing making sure that the ink is visible through those dark fibers. JET-PRO Soft Stretch transfers at 375 degrees, and it takes about 30 seconds with a medium-high pressure. When the timer goes off, we're going to peel it, and we're going to peel it hot. It can be peeled warm, but you're typically going to get your best results peeling it hot. So I'm going to wave the shirt a little bit, cool it down so I don't burn myself. I'm going to start on the upper half of the shirt and slowly peel the transfer without ripping too bad the paper. One of the cool things about JET-PRO Soft Stretch is the colors that you get. Again, without any special software, without anything going on, you get a very vibrant, very good color on that shirt. It's a very soft feel. Going to give it a little bit of a stretch to help it soak in. And then there's the transfer. With JET-PRO Soft Stretch, you are going to see that some of the ink remains behind. That's a good thing. A lot of inkjet printers are designed to help those print manufacturers, HP, Epson, Brother, Canon. These printers are designed to print a lot of ink and to really help those guys sell a lot of ink cartridges. So there will be some ink left over, but more than enough on the shirt to create a very visible, very vibrant, very good-looking transfer. The washability on the JET-PRO Soft Stretch is very good. It works, like we mentioned, on both light colored shirts and whites. Ideally for whites, but it does very well on the white shirts. It's got a soft hand and a natural feel. It's great for, like I said, backup jobs and things like that. So if you have a sublimation printer, you're used to doing sublimation. If you only have a Sawgrass and you run out of ink, but you have an order that needs to be done right away, keeping a pack of JET-PRO Soft Stretch on hand might not be a bad idea. If you have an order that comes in, somebody needs something quick, you can very quickly sub out the sublimation paper with an inkjet printer and the JET-PRO Soft Stretch. It's great for budget-conscious beginners, and you get a very high-quality transfer. With inkjet transfers, your durability and your washability is very good. Neenah tries to get anywhere from 15 to 25 washes out of their shirts before you start to notice any degradation. I recommend washing the shirts with a light or mild detergent on cold, turning them inside out before putting them in the washer, and most importantly, giving them a solid 24 to 48 hours to fully cure, for the ink to set and for everything to bond together before you put it in the washer. It's recommended to hand dry or to line dry. While you can put it in a dryer, a lot of these modern dryers are like jet engines. They are designed to dry your clothes very fast, very quick, and they are super high heat to get that done. Because these graphics have been applied by heat, it's always better. You're going to get a longer lasting print, a better looking print, and it's going to remain good looking if you avoid the dryer. With that said, if you're doing this as a business, if you're making shirts for friends and family, good luck getting them to listen to you, because I have tried and I've watched time and time again, friends, family, people I've made shirts for, put those shirts right in the dryer. even if people are drying them, even if they're not turning them inside out, you're going to get a great lifespan with these shirts. They're also great for memories, keepsakes. So some people, when you make them, they're going to hang them up on a wall, they'll fold them up. They won't necessarily be drying them and washing them and wearing them a whole lot. Do we have any other questions about the inkjet transfer papers?
No questions as of right now, Ryan, but everyone let Ryan know if you got any questions.
We will move on to the laser printable transfer paper. So laser printers are a little bit more rare. We don't see them a whole lot in the industry. They're a little bit more expensive. Neenah has 2 heat transfer papers for laser printers. Some of you guys might be familiar with white toner transfer printing, products like Forever, the Creo, the Uninet printers. Those are white toner printers. Those printers typically cost several $1,000s. They come with the very specialized RIP software, and they allow you to do really great, really cool graphics. The Neenah laser transfer papers work with similar machines, but you don't need that white toner capability. Laser printers, and Bo can fact check me on this if he has the Google machine up and running, they're typically going to come in between $300 and $600. Maybe a little bit more if you want an 11 by 17, but for the standard size, anywhere from $300 to $600 is about the average that I've seen laser printers at. What you're going to need for the LASER-1-OPAQUE, Neenah's laser printable dark t-shirt transfer paper, is a CMYK cyan yellow, magenta, and black laser printer. Similar to 3G JET-OPAQUE, the LASER-1-OPAQUE is going to be printed out on a sheet. You can then use that rip tear method. I'll show you here. We get a nice little rip going, and then we start peeling it away. You can see there is a little bit of you notice it a little bit on the sheet where we ripped it, but once we apply the heat and put it under heat, that's going to go away. We're going to do a red shirt this time to show the dye blocking capabilities. Just like the inkjet printable 3G JET-OPAQUE, the LASER-1-OPAQUE is printed right reading on a laser printer. We peel off the transfer and it's placed directly onto the shirt. This is another great product if you're looking to get started, not invest a lot of money, and you want to use a hand iron. Most of these hand irons, they heat up to about 350 to 400 degrees. You want to make sure you do not have any steam. You want to make sure all of the water is out. The dark transfer papers do have instructions for hand ironing. Again, with pretty good pressure, we want to press onto the sheet, move it an up and down pattern and a side to side pattern. We're trying to heat up the polymers. We're trying to heat up that adhesive layer and press it as deep as we can into the cotton fibers of the shirt. These products do work best with 100% cotton and 50-50 cotton blends. You can do polyester with them, but polyester tends to be it's a synthetic fiber. It tends to be a little bit smoother. It doesn't have the rough finish of cotton, and the durability and the longevity of the transfer can suffer with polyester. We typically recommend sublimation or direct-to-garment transfers or screen printed transfers if you're looking to do 100% polyester. Again, we're getting the iron really worked in there, heating up the paper, going side to side, up and down. Ideally, you'll do this, again, for 3 to 5 minutes, but you don't have to do it for that long. And there we go. We have our graphic onto the shirt. The whites stay white. The dyes of the red aren't through. And we get a great looking, easy to use heat transfer. Again, these products have been around for quite some time. They have a great reputation in the industry. Neenah makes the base coating, the paper, and does the polymer coating all under one roof. That is the LASER-1-OPAQUE, very similar to the inkjet printable 3G JET-OPAQUE. You can put it under a heat press, 350 degrees for about 30 seconds. With a hand iron, you want to do the iron with no steam. Full temperature, as hot as it goes, which would typically be 350 to 400 degrees. Next up, we're going to show the TECHNI-PRINT EZP. TECHNI-PRINT EZP is another laser printable paper. Just like JET-PRO Soft Stretch, it is for light and white garments. TECHNI-PRINT EZP can also be used to transfer onto other substrates. We've done a mirror. We've done mugs. We've done some hard surface goods with it. While it is not specifically made for this, if you play around a little bit with your time, temperature, and pressure settings, you can decorate some hard surfaces with it. Just like the LASER-1-OPAQUE, the TECHNI-PRINT EZP works best with the CMYK laser printer. Like the JET-PRO Soft Stretch, which is the inkjet printable version for white and light shirts, this is a one-step transfer paper, meaning there's no need to peel it off. The polymers, the coating, the transfer doesn't get peeled off of the front of the shirt. It transfers directly from the heat press or the hand iron onto the garment. In this case, we're going to be doing a pink shirt. Just like JET-PRO Soft Stretch, any light colored garments, it can be a light pink, light yellow, it can be a white, anything where the fibers in the shirt hasn't been dyed dark, 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 it's going to be able to decorate and show through. One of my favorite things to do with this, and anytime I am invited or my wife is invited to a baby shower, we like to decorate onesies and shirts for the soon-to-be mother, soon-to-be grandmother. Neenah transfer papers are safe to use on onesies. They are, again, have been around for a very long time. They have been tested, they've been used and certified, safe for skin contact, safe for t-shirts. So in this case, we are doing a My Grandma and I Got in Trouble Today. One of the cool things about doing these shirts, and if you do sublimating or any type of decorating, you may have done this before, but it's very easy to print different sizes. So while we're doing a t-shirt with a large size, again, for a gift for a baby shower or something like that, a new mom, we also have one in a onesie for the baby. So if you're going to be going out with a new grandchild, a new baby, you can make some fun shirts like this. It transfers very easily onto a light colored shirt. You can see the image shows up very bright. And having matching shirts for grandma and baby is always fun. 375 degrees for 30 seconds. I'm going to let that shirt cool down a little bit. I do not want to burn myself. We can peel off the paper. Give it a little stretch. And there we go. The Neenah TECHNI-PRINT EZP onto a nice pink cotton t-shirt. Just like with the inkjet printable JET-PRO Soft Stretch, there is a little bit of ink, there is a little bit of texture and print left on the transfer. That's totally normal, but you still get the really great color. You get the good solid transfer onto whites, lights, dark pink shirts. All of those different colors. Like I mentioned, when you're doing the one-step transfers with the white and light shirts, it is important to mirror the image. You might notice when I hold this up to the camera, it shows up reversed. I did not do that. It is a very easy and common mistake to make. It's never fun to write a transfer sheet, but at the end of the day, if you can catch mistakes before you've transferred them onto the garment, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this webinar. If anybody does have any questions, we're going to give you another chance to get those going. But I did want to talk a little bit about some of the things that Neenah has done to help small businesses and help people get started in this industry. These papers are used by a lot of different professionals. Some of the people that are using them by the case, buying thousands of sheets at a time, are actually located in mall kiosks. They have 1-hour print shops, sometimes photographers, graphic designers, people that sell different types of different types of prints in like copy shops or document reproduction places. They will already have all of this equipment. They will already have all of the software and the design skills to be able to make these types of images, make these types of shirts. So it's a great way if you're looking to expand your business. Maybe you want to offer 10-minute t-shirts, 5-minute t-shirts. You can very quickly print off a transfer onto your substrate, onto the transfer paper, transfer it onto the shirt, and you can add products to your inventory and you can customize them. These shirts, they're all blank shirts. They cost roughly $3 to $6 for a blank t-shirt. The transfer paper is, I think, $1.20 for the dark t-shirt transfer papers. And less than that, I want to say they're 87 cents, 77 cents for the light t-shirt transfer papers. So you're looking all in at a cost of maybe $6, $7 for all of the materials needed. You have the hand iron, you have the printer, an investment of $6 or $7. You add a photo of a grandkid. You make a photo for a special family event. You make photos that are meaningful and you put images that are unique to that person. They will easily pay $15 to $25 for this shirt. So it's a great way to get started. It's a great way to begin your business. You get them to submit images to you. Maybe you take the photographs yourself if you're a photographer. It's a great, simple, low-cost way to get started. You can start designing, making your own custom designs, transferring them onto t-shirts with a very small investment. What makes Neenah the go-to partner in the industry, what makes Neenah so popular with both the at-home and the professionals are its longevity and its quality and its research and development. Neenah is still putting money into making sure they have the best t-shirt transfer papers out there. They have gone above and beyond in the quality of these papers. They work every time. One of our customers actually operates a chain of kiosks, and he might even buy through Conde. I think you guys maybe supply him with cartons. He goes through thousands of sheets a week of these transfer papers. And he also knows that there are other transfer paper brands out there. They might cost a few cents less. Why does he use those Neenah papers? Because they work every time. He did try, and we've talked to him before for a while during the pandemic. It was difficult to find Neenah transfer paper. So he tried one of the other brands that was out there, a US made brand. He found that roughly 10% of the shirts he made, 10% of the transfers, they didn't work. The image would lift off with the t-shirt transfer paper. It would stick to the silicone coated parchment paper, or when they were heat pressing it, the dyes on that polymer would be dispersed and the image didn't look very good. If you're doing 1,000 shirts a week and 10% of them are messed up and trash, not only are you wasting the cost of the t-shirt and the cost of the transfer paper, but your time in making those shirts is gone. That really eats into your profitability. So a lot of people, whether they're doing a few transfers or a lot, are going to trust Neenah because of that quality, that dependability, and the fact that they work very well time and time again. Neenah is also the only company that makes the base paper, the coating, and applies the coating all in one step, all in-house. They control every aspect of the process. This allows them to really ensure a high level of quality, a high level of consistency. There's a lot of companies out there that might do portions of this, but ultimately they run into issues between batches, between runs of paper, and you can affect the quality, and you can really spend a lot of frustrating time, and you can spend money being very frustrated at the fact that these transfers are not working. And lastly, the safety and the reliability. Neenah has been doing this for a very long time. Like anything else, it does take time. It does take practice to learn how to do this. If you are struggling, if you're having questions, maybe like Bo mentioned, tearing off the opaque transfer papers, if you guys are not having an easy time doing that, you can reach out to Conde. They have an A+ customer service. You can reach out to Neenah. They're going to be able to walk you through how to use these papers, give you tips and tricks for success. They even have a sheet. It's probably on conde.com, and if it's not, we're going to be uploading it shortly, with 5 different ways that you can remove the backing from these transfer papers, ways that you can easily get that done. And that customer support, that care, that making sure that the product works for you and you get the results you want is not always available when you don't go through trusted, reliable sources. So thank you guys for hanging around, watching the live of the Neenah inkjet and laser printable heat transfer papers. If it's been a while since you've used them or if you've never tried them, I encourage you to go out, buy a pack, give it a try, make some custom t-shirts, make some designs, try printing and pressing your own shirts, take a look at the quality, see what Neenah's done, see how they've improved, and we'd love to hear your feedback.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Good job, Ryan. That was wonderful. Thank you for being the product specialist and Neenah's products. Very good, very good. Lots of useful information there. If anyone is interested in anything going further with Neenah, you can give us a call at 1-800-826-6332. You can also go ahead and email us at sales@conde.com. And we look forward to helping you with that. We've got a lot of great products going on there. You know, if you're just tuning in, catch the replay. That's right, Jesse, catch the replay. Yeah. So Ryan, thank you so much for coming on, doing this. This was a wonderful, wonderful live. Neenah has so many great products. I learned some stuff in there. You know, it's great. Goes on white and light colored garments, dark garments, laser to toner. So it's got something in there for everyone. The most important thing is it's going to go on cotton garments first and foremost. It does go on other garments, but I know in the sublimation world that cotton is kind of the kryptonite of the industry. So with that, Ryan, I'm going to end this live in this webinar, unless you have any other words of wisdom.
Just want to thank everybody who made it through, who watched the live. I hope you guys learned a lot about the Neenah transfer papers. I hope we were able to impart some tips, some tricks, some wisdom to you that makes the process easier and improves what you're doing, because the ultimate goal is helping you guys make fun items, make unique items for people doing this for a living, for a side hustle, to help you guys make money. So thank you very much for having me. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'm going to end this with a dig on you, Ryan. 4 out of the 5 Great Lakes do prefer Michigan.
I love it, Bo. I love it. Yes, you are Michigan, and we are Illinois. We actually recently renamed Lake Illinois. I don't know if you're aware of that. We no longer call it Lake Michigan.
I was not aware of that. But yes, thank you guys for putting up with my dad jokes and everything. Thank you, Ryan. And we'll see you guys all soon. So goodbye.